Greetings, everyone. It is your. I want to do this. Your friendly neighborhood wizard, Andrew here. Yeah, I like that. It's your friendly neighborhood wizard, Andrew here for you guys. In case that wasn't obvious, we are starting a new lore series this time about the world of Harry Potter. Just in case the hoodie itself didn't give it away. So, we are going to start with something very, very simple ish. We're going to be starting with the greatest thing we have ever gotten out of Harry Potter, and that would be Quidditch. My favorite sport ever, and the only one I could actually see myself playing. So, I wrote down everything I thought I would need from the Harry Potter wiki. So, I'm going to try and get as much in this video as I can. Might have to make a part 2. But we're going to get right into it. So, Quidditch was first created in 1050, and it got its name from the first game that was played at Marsh. Quidditch Marsh in 1050. Now, it's not the only game that was ever played on a broom, but it's the only one that got as popular as it did. It did have a few predecessors. There was a game called Stitch Stuck. I'm probably going to mispronounce this. Ain Gingian. Then there is Creothian. There is Shunt Bumps and Shrivenhodge. Those are about the 5 predecessors that it had. Now, as we all know, each Quidditch team had 7 players. There were 3 chasers, 1 keeper, 2 beaters, and 1 seeker for each team. Now, as we know, the chasers would go around and get the quaffle, which is one of the balls, and throw it through one of the 3 hoops to score 10 points for their team. The beaters would use bats to hit bludgers to try and knock opposing teammates off their brooms. The keeper's job was to guard the goalposts. In the seeker's job was to get the snitch. If you caught the snitch, your team would get 150 points right off the bat, and you would win the game. No, not necessarily, because as we read in the Goblet of Fire, Bulgaria and Ireland went against each other in the Quidditch World Cup, and while Bulgaria scored 150 points, the Irish team had, I think it was 170 points, so they literally won by 20 points without having to get the snitch. So, throwing the quaffle through any of the goalposts would get you 10 points, while capturing the snitch would earn you 150 points. So, before the creation of the golden snitch, players would try and catch the golden snidget, which is a tiny, tiny bird. And they kept it in the pitch using repelling charms from the crowd. Eventually, they, used the snidget to practical extinction. So it was Bowman Wright who created the first golden snitch. The golden snitch was made to mimic the movements and flight patterns of the golden snidget. It was made to have touch sensitivity, so whoever caught the golden snitch could say, hey, I caught it, because it had touch memory, so no disputes could happen. The snitch could still be fumbled and tricked, but 9 times out of 10 it worked. And it was also bewitched to stay in the Quidditch pitch without the need of repelling charms from the crowd. Now, Quidditch gear is another thing. The standard Quidditch gear involved robes and a broom, as well as gloves, forearm guards, goggles, and shin guards along with knee pads. And I think it only shows up in the movies, specifically year 6, The Half-Blood Prince. We see that players such as keepers would wear chest plates and helmets. I think chasers would also wear them, which makes sense because it protects against, bludgers hitting you in the chest or the head. Is good to have some type of protection. Now, another way the game could end is, like I said, the game ended by the snitch being caught, or if both captains came to an agreement. That's another way the game could end. Now, these are the Quidditch balls. In the middle, you have the quaffle, which is it's roughly about the size of a basketball, maybe a little bit closer to the size of a football. It's decently big. Like, if you see in the movies, you see them holding it under their arm. It's decently big. Now, for the bludgers. The bludgers, they're roughly about the size of my apple of Eden prop, so roughly about the size of a baseball, if not a little bit bigger. Now, the most famous, well-known, and important ball would be the golden snitch. Now, the golden snitch is roughly only about the size of a walnut. It is, of course, golden, hence why it's called the golden snitch, named after the golden snidget. Very small, very fast, and damn near impossible to see, as paraphrased from Oliver Wood from The Philosopher's Stone. You get the snitch, you win the game by getting 150 points. So that's why it's the most important component of Quidditch, though there is a caveat. So let's say you're in a tournament, whether it's for the preliminaries to go to the Quidditch World Cup to be one of the finalists, or even at Hogwarts for your team. In a tournament, you have to reach a certain amount of points to be able to stay in the tournament before your seeker can catch the snitch. We saw this in one of the books, where Oliver Wood told Harry to wait until they were... I think he said to wait until they were at least 80 points up before he caught the snitch. Otherwise, there would have been no point of catching the snitch, because they would not have had enough points to stay in the tournament. Alright, that is going to be it for part 1 of Quidditch, because I still have another half page, so I'm going to make a part 2 on this. But this is the start of a new lore series, so I'm keeping myself busy. But that was all I have for you guys today. As always, my friends, safety and peace be with you, and remember, happiness can be found in the darkest of times, if one only remembers to turn on the light.